Hello, everyone, and we're gonna get started. Right, seeing if anybody's here yet. If you're here, hello. I know it's been a couple minutes, but hey, critter. Yeah, just waiting for more people to come in before we get started. See where everybody's at. Hope everybody had a nice evening, a nice dinner, nice little bit of time to relax. um, hey, Matthew, how you doing? Still, yeah, I know you had to deal with your time change as well, so thanks for sticking around. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna give it another couple minutes before we get started. See if anybody else shows up. Parallax. Oh, hi. Oh, you didn't get back to the stream earlier. They came back, but they didn't finish on the guy. It's still going, so we're gonna be waiting. The prosecution was still doing their case. Uh, and by the way, I don't know if you were how far you got into it, but this guy, Jimmy Martin, this guy's a fucking crazy man. Looks like he's killed a lot of people the way he talks about it in the planning. So, it should be good tomorrow to start back up. And they're starting back up at I think at 10:30 Eastern time. So, which is weird. They run really weird days out there, but oh well. It's the way the judge wants to do it. Oh. Okay, you didn't see any Jimmy Martin? Okay, yeah. Oh my god, that guy's a trip. He's definitely involved in killing people. Um, yeah, you should definitely watch it. Uh, he's a weird dude. Weird dude. Um, oh, hi, Sue. Well, we got six. I mean, I guess we can get started and start talking. I'm just trying to make sure I got everything that I picked up. Oh, yeah, Kentucky Attorney and the Redditors. Yes. Sorry, I just wanted to fill out the description for tonight. Okay, so yeah, I guess oh 9 now. Okay, yeah, we're definitely getting started now. So guys, I guess well, we'll start for the first thing. Chandler Halderson. Yep, he's sentenced now. He is doing life without the possibility of parole. Um, it was very interesting. That was a very long sentencing for, I guess, actually what transpired. The prosecution. I mean, the way the prosecutor was talking, I was like, Chandler killed one of his family members. Um, I understand it's emotional, but geez, that guy looked like he was. I mean, that guy was talking like somebody wrote a script for him, and there's music in the background. The judge, geez, that was a lot too. Um, just to get to the point where they were going to do life without parole. Um, that's it though. It was interesting. Chandler did talk, really, and all he had to say was, "Please, I need people who are willing to help me with my appeal." That's it though. From watching the case, ain't nothing we can do for you, buddy. You're fucked. So yeah, he's toast. I know we watched that, but I'm probably not gonna go back through it again right now. Um, hey Shannon. Yeah, the judge was very weepy. Um, so Chandler literally spoke. If you watch her stream, he spoke for about 15 seconds. Um, he's like, I'm reaching out to any attorney out there who would be able to help me do my appeal. That's basically what he said, more or less. It was done very quickly. Um, it was nice to actually hear him speak, though. And no, he didn't say, oh, they tasted great, or I enjoyed it and I'd do it again. Sadly, nothing good. So yeah, that was a little anticlimactic. Um, the Billy Ray Turner trial, the prosecutors finally got done with their cell phone expert. I would say watching him go over everything, uh, it doesn't look very good because basically they killed Lorenzen right next to their house. So in the cell phone show, it all happening very close to each other. So yeah, that one. I mean, based on that alone, I mean, it's not looking good. You know, the way the dates and the times line up, the way they talked in code. Yeah, looks like they definitely planned this guy's murder. Um, he sounds like he was fired. Um, yeah, pretty much. He sounds like a guy who got fired from his job, not a guy who's going to prison forever and will die there. It was really weird. What is he appealing? I don't know. He's gonna be throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks. I mean, literally, I don't see any grounds that could do anything. Maybe he gets a new sentencing hearing. He can claim there was prejudice at the sentencing hearing, but I bet if you resentence him, you get the same result, just with less fluff and less emotional, like weepiness. Uh, Lots of coded words. Yeah. But yeah, getting back to Billy Ray Turner. Yeah, there's a ton of coded words, and I will say they picked up a pretty good code system when you hear. Um, so I guess we'll stay on Chandler for a minute. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sit here and say they failed him because they didn't present a defense. They may have had their hands tied based on what they know. Chandler may have told them what happened. They also may have run into an issue of, for example, Chandler said, "You do not go after my girlfriend. Let her walk away from this in one piece." He said maybe he told them, "Don't go after anybody." Now, that's not really something an attorney has to listen to, but for the sake of keeping things civil, and they're also the public defender's office, they probably ran into that issue. So it could be any number of things. They also could have phoned it in too. It really could be that, but I really don't think so. Most public defenders, I mean, they're about that life. I mean, you give them a chance to go to trial and hammer it out on something this level, they would be, super happy to do so. So I think, yeah, I think there's a little more going on there than we'll ever know, than they'll ever be allowed to tell us. Um, but yeah, getting back to Billy Ray Turner, yeah, listening to Jimmy Martin talk, no relation, by the way, talk about all the different tools he uses and using all the DJ and stage terms for it. Like I'm gonna go like my nightstand is a 9-inch monitor right now. I'm gonna start using all the ways they talk about everything. Yeah, parallax. I can see that being an issue. And it's keeping your client calm, and it doesn't change much for your guy, but you might be able to spin some blame off him, which helps. But yeah, it could easily be an issue, and at some point you have to listen to your client. So after all, it is their case. You make tactical decisions, but ultimately how it plays out is their decision, and it's their decision alone. You have here Jimmy doesn't. Yes, I'm also not in prison, and Jimmy is. Um, um, so yeah, yeah. So I mean, that was really it for today. I know we talked about we'd watch Dr. Husel. That's something was going. No, did we discuss this the disabled lawyer? I have no idea what we're talking about. Because if you're gonna say mentally disabled, most attorneys, including myself, fit that definition at some point or another. So no, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Dr. Husel's still on trial, and the prosecution's still going through their witnesses. I think today they had a former nurse from Mount Carmel Hospital going with more nonsense. Like I said, I saw enough. I want to see what the defense does. So it's still going, and it'll probably be going till we die, or till the sun, consumes the earth. Dr. Husel is still fighting his case, and Jose Baez is still doing his thing. And it sounds like, depending on the day, he is kicking some pretty good ass. So yeah, I'm not sure what the disabled lawyer is. We're gonna get to Jussie. Jussie is out. Yes, the juice is on the loose again. Although this isn't really this is a very this is like cocktail juice, not like the juice. This juice also isn't. Unlike OJ, Jussie would fake holding himself hostage. Oh, the Kentucky attorney. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to that Kentucky attorney. Prosecution should have been earlier next week. The state pulled some papers out today, and that's always a big no-no when you produce evidence and defense has not seen it yet. So I'll look into that and see what happened. Maybe it's something we can talk about coming up for next week. Hi Don, how you doing? So where are we now? Oh, Jussie. Yeah, Jussie got released. The Court of Appeals issued a ruling that he be released pending the outcome of his appeal. Does that happen? And that means he's on appeal bond right now. Does everybody get bond pending appeal? No. Is it because of who he is? Certainly. Do I think a lot of people would get it in his situation? No. Have I gotten it from my clients? Yes. Yes. I've got a case right now where I did the appeal and it's been submitted. I really, really, really hope we win. I mean, like, knocking on some good, healthy wood. I think we've got a good shot at it, and we should win. He probably gets a new trial. But in the meantime, he was sentenced to 180 days in jail. He would have already served it by now had he just gone in. So, yeah, we got that. He also had some medical issues. I was able to argue putting him in jail wouldn't be good for him. So the court kept him out. It also doesn't hurt that the jail he was going to get sent to is kind of crowded on a routine basis. So keeping the jail numbers down always makes the sheriff happy, always makes the judge happy. A lot of situations, though, client-wise, yeah, you're sitting in jail till this gets sorted out. Sorry, it happens. So, yeah, it's 2-1. He got released. There's video of him getting released. We can, yes, it's... Yes, it's Chicago, and just like watching The Untouchables, why does it happen this way? Because it's Chicago, or Sean Connery, because it's Chicago. But yeah, it happens. You're never gonna get past it. There is some video of him getting out, and it looks as theatrical. Um, like I said, Parallax, if he wasn't who he was, he likely would not be getting it. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. It's just very unlikely. But yeah, certainly being able to say, "Hey, I know Michelle Obama and she's my BFF" in the state of Illinois certainly does not hurt. Um, but yeah, there is some video of him walking out. Let me see if I can.
They're moving.
Okay, so there is some video here. We can watch our young Rhodes Scholar walk around and see what happens to him. So, Jussie briskly walked to the truck, yeah. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting to watch him, especially watch him right now. You see him at the gates, watch him.
He's coming out.
He's waving, he's all, thank you, thank you. I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. I don't know, going to get some chicken tendies now, or going to get maybe he's going to get a Subway sandwich, I don't know. But yes, for those of you wondering, in the Midwest, it was very nice today. I mean, it would be nice. I'd still have my window open except for my neighbors are out and about, so you'd be hearing them. Yeah, it was a very pleasant day today in Chicago and across the Midwest. So, yep, there he comes. He gets to not be suicidal anymore. He gets to put his fist in the eye of the people oppressing the black community or whatever the fuck it was he said.
Jussie, anything you want to say for yourself?
It's kind of boring. But yeah, he gets to go
Jussie, anything you
over
want to say for yourself?
workout deals, whatever. I'm not
Jussie, do you have anything to say to the judge?
So hard, so brave. I mean, this is just like the hurricane. This is just like that. True hero. True heroism. I mean, stunning and brave. That's how important that was. So brave. American hero right there. An American hero. Oh, you guys couldn't hear me? Okay, well. So stunning, so brave. It's a true American hero. Go eat some Subway tonight, Jussie. You've earned it. You show the world that Chicago isn't MAGA country. Yeah, and Parallax, that's the big issue. How many other people get it, and is this fairly applied? And that's the issue for me as well. Either everybody gets it or no one gets it. You should not be able to claim a benefit in the justice system because of your money and your access. We all should have that right, and I don't think we all would. Yes, he doesn't look suicidal now. I'm sure he's not suicidal. Don, you have asked a question. Do you think the jury, and this going back to Billy Ray Turner, do you think the jury will receive Jimmy Martin's testimony credible, but not discounted because he has full immunity? Well, I mean, when you think about it, the jury's going to have to evaluate that credibility. Now, this guy's already serving 20 years in prison. He's already in prison. He's already been sentenced. It's already been established that he's a bad guy. But has he said anything so far that's wrong? Or has everything he said so far lined up with everything else the jury has gotten? I'm sure tomorrow there's going to be even more testimony. And then the defense is going to have to get up there and make him look like a snitch and a liar and a non-trustworthy guy. So they might be able to, but people snitch on each other all the time in trials. Co-defendants testify against each other, and it works. Juries buy it; they believe it. Your bro just snitched on you, and they believe that to be true. That's usually not a problem. It's not like a Goodfellas where, and that's where he testifies against them on the show and in the trial, and they're like, "Are you familiar with being a rat?" None of that happens. Juries generally believe snitches, so yeah, it's. I don't think the jury's not going to believe him. He also comes across very credible. It sounds like he's the one who came up with the code. So, yeah, I don't think they're gonna. No problems at all. Um, did the prosecutors try him twice for the same crime? No, there was no jeopardy. Double jeopardy only attaches once you've been in peril, and for somebody like Jussie, was a jury seated the first time through? Nope. Prosecutor said, "Hey, we're agreeing not to do this." There was no formal things. He didn't plea on the record. Um, it was all informal. So he hadn't really gone to court. So if you haven't gone to court and the prosecutor sets up an agreement with you, yeah, have you pled? I don't think so. I would like to, and I'd make the same arguments his attorneys have made. Well, he never gave back the money. We never did this or that. Sure, but I think there's something to be said about you engaged in corruption and you engaged in a corrupt outcome, so you never really were in any danger either or peril. So, no, that's not necessarily double jeopardy. I could see that, it's Illinois. It's a weird state. It's a corrupt state. I mean, how many of their governors have gone to prison so far out of the past couple? I'm pretty sure they're like every one of their past governors, the past two or three, has gone to federal prison. So anything can happen there. Anything at all. Charles Watt, hey, thanks for showing up. Yeah, and yeah, I think I haven't seen what Nate said, but yeah, really, ultimately, he paid some money, and there wasn't really like an official agreement. None of it was submitted to the court. Um, Now he could make an argument, kind of like Bill Cosby, that hey, there is a declination to prosecute. But remember, unlike Bill Cosby, Jussie never made any incriminating statements. It didn't violate his Fifth Amendment rights. So I still think that he's able to be tried here. It just, if you look at it from 10,000 feet, it doesn't pass the smell test. It seems iffy. But once you really dig down, it looks perfectly legitimate. And it makes total sense that this is not double jeopardy. There's not the slightest bit of unfairness here. The only bit of unfairness you'll see is the idea that he probably influenced the initial prosecution. So once again, he finally got a fair prosecution this time around. Hellcat, hey, how you doing? Artist, how you doing? Oh, actually, I didn't see what you had wrote, John. But yeah, I started going into the Cosby thing. It's not like the Cosby thing because he wasn't ever induced to make statements. He didn't rely on what they told him. They didn't say, we promise not to prosecute you. Here's a signed agreement. And then he goes out and tells the world, like, yeah, you know what? I did it. I feel really bad about it. And then they turn around and use those words against him. There were no issues about violating his Fifth Amendment rights. So it 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 sounds the same, but it's clearly not the same once you actually look at it. And by sounding the same, I mean barely. Somebody in passing could try to say this is the same type of case, but once again, if you look at it for more than 10 seconds, you can see there's a big difference between the two. Roxy, hello. Do you think the judge had the right to berate Jussie? Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes. That and besides, if you guys are watching Glorious Bastards, I've been with clients, both as prosecutor and defense attorney. I've stand there and watched defendants get chewed out and like get dicked down by a judge. That really wasn't a dicking down at all. That was kind of stern, but I've seen people chewed out before, and that wasn't chewing out. Yeah, judges are allowed to tell you you're a piece of shit. You fucked up. You are horrible. You damaged this community, and they have to be professional about it, but they can lay into you and talk to you about what you did, why it was wrong, how it was wrong, and any number of things they want to do. Yes, Roxy, he didn't say anything that wasn't true, but he's still bound by the rules of professional conduct as an attorney. And then he's also bound by the rules of judicial conduct as a judge. So he has to do things properly, and he can be impartial and he can be fair, but he can still say this was wrong, especially after he's been convicted. Because at that point, he's not, the jury made the decision, he's allowed to operate off that decision. Now, if he had acted like this at a pre-trial or during the trial, yeah, that judge would be recused and he might be referred to discipline among the judicial oversight. But once the jury's spoken, the judge is allowed to run with that jury verdict and, treat you, like if you get convicted of speeding, the judge can treat you like if you admitted to it. So, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gonna. Yes, Borowski. Um, I don't think he's gonna go to town on Edgecombe. I mean, he's gonna lower the boom on him, and he's probably gonna get that higher end of the sentence. Um, but he's gonna be pretty professional about it. He'll be short. He'll be curt. Um, Compared to other judges, it's going to seem very, much like he's dropping a bomb, but it's not gonna. I don't think it's going to be as it's not going to be an own as much as you guys think it will be. Um, Jussie's team kept saying the judge didn't have the right, and I made that argument for it. You just tell the judge, Your Honor, I don't believe you have the right to do what you're doing. The law doesn't give you that authority, and they may have an argument there. Um, they didn't need 5 hours to do it, but I've told a judge before, Your Honor, as I stated in my motion, I don't believe the court has the authority to do what it's doing under the Ohio Revised Code, which are the laws of Ohio, the Ohio Constitution, or the U.S. Constitution. But you have to make that argument in a professional way, and they did. It's just, once again, they didn't need 5 fucking hours to do that. Yeah, he doesn't have any will to the defendant, but he hated the defense team, sure. And I don't think he won't take it out on Edgecombe. But even if he wanted to, I think for him, he would have to devote way too much time and thought and energy to Theodore Edgecombe, that he's gonna, he could be worrying about how the Brewers are gonna start doing this year, and he's got to worry about how bad they're gonna suck. And he'd rather spend the resources in his brain on that. So it's gonna be a lot shorter. It's going to be fairly quick. The victims are mainly gonna handle laying into Edgecombe, I think, really at the end of the day. Um, yeah, I just, yeah, but the way he started going, you expected him to start saying, like, oh, the Hallersons were my neighbors, like he loved them or something. Like, that got a little bit much for me. I mean, at times it felt like everybody was trying to yuck it up for the camera, which that's not your job. Your job's to do your job. So, I mean, even that judge in the Hallerson trial, I almost wanted to tell him, like, go put a new tampon in. Like, we got casework to do, bro. I don't need you weepy up there. I need you being a judge. So, um, yeah, I don't think that was the best option. I think they could have done that a little better, a little more, a little less crying, and a little more just getting it done. Bow ties make you beta. Maybe. I mean, Tucker Carlson wore a bow tie, and that didn't make him beta. Um, you know, Sean Connery, well, James Bond wears bow ties when he's doing his tux. Um, Judge Newman told Roland he had 10,000 roads, and they all read straight to Roland. Oh, hi, Catherine. Well, Roxy, I'm not sure which case you guys are talking about right at the top of my head. So have I seen worse cases than that, though? I mean, um, yeah, when I worked in a prosecutor's office I worked in, we had a school shooting. Um, thank God nobody was injured. Oh, I'm sorry, people were injured, nobody was killed. It didn't really make the headlines because, you know, there were like four or five students wounded. Nobody died. Um, that was a very intense, and the guy who did it, was 18, ended up pleading out, is doing a big long sentence. That was a very emotional thing to go through. All the people, the community, the town. But I will say the judge in this one, he acted the way I wish all these judges would have. I wish the judge in Halderson's case would have acted the way this judge I was in front of handled it. He addressed it. He talked at length, but he didn't get emotional. I think he just did it. I think he did it the right way. And it's also he had children who were high school age. This judge did. They went to a different school. Bigger. They went to the bigger school district in the county, and this was one of the rural school districts where it happened. But within 10 minutes of each other. But he talked about it at length. But he did so in a very professional and concise manner. Yeah, I've been in front of judges where they don't mess around too much. Everybody says their talk, they say their piece, and the judge is sentenced the guy in a couple of seconds. It's very quick. So I just think there's the ways it can be done better. But hey, he's a judge, I'm not. So I'm just some asshole on the internet talking shit. So give that the weight and the credit that you may give it. Because that's really what I am at the end of the day. The Uber driver case, I mean, I'm just thinking, Hellcat, it's like, okay, case involving Uber and a murder. I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of those too now. That's like saying, hey, that murder case with like drugs and a gun. It's like, oh, that one. Uh, so yeah. Anyways, I think I know you're talking about Roland. I'm just saying I was trying to make a little bit of a joke there. I'm think if that's good, I think we'll move on to Gabby Petito. Now, I am an attorney, and yes, I'm your asshole, and just all I do is spew crap. So, hi Gixer, how you doing? So Gabby Petito's family filed a lawsuit against Brian Laundrie's family. I will say I am an attorney, so I admire the hustle my fellow attorneys do. I'm kind of all about that. But this one's bullshit. This is absolute fucking nonsense. If you guys can see it, hopefully everybody can see it from. Okay, yeah, you guys can see it. Well, you guys are done saying hello and shaking hands. Are we ready to proceed, class? Anyway, this is filed down in Florida. This is how it has to look in Florida. Every state's different, so just looking at this alone, just don't worry about all the stuff at the top. Here's where it matters. They don't have a case number yet because you have to file to get a case number. You don't know the judge because you have to file to get that. But anyways, this is the. Actually, hold on. Is this the wrong thing? Okay, yeah. Here's the complaint. I'm sorry. That was all the junk at the top. I didn't mean to get that. So yes, here we go. 12th Judicial District in Florida for Sarasota County. Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt. From what I understand, Gabby's parents were divorced, so that's why Nicole Schmidt is actually her biological mom. She remarried. Against Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie. They're asking for in excess of $30,000. That's just the statutory threshold to be in a general court of jurisdiction in Florida. So I'm trying to make sure they're clear of small claims courts. Why are they filing it down in Sarasota County? Because that's where Brian Laundrie's parents live, and that is a valid place to file a lawsuit. Typically, if you file it there, it relieves the defendant from trying to complain and get it moved to another county. Usually, the defendant will say, well, if you're going to sue me, I have the right to defend myself in my home county. Because if I have to do all the work, I should at least not have to worry about going somewhere else. So they filed it there. And here's... they talk about the residences of each party involved. Now, here's where you get down to talking about the issues surrounding the murder. And here's the thing. They believe that it occurred on August 27th of 2021. I think that's probably the date. If you had to ask the FBI, probably how she died. was from blunt force injuries to the head and neck with manual strangulation as opposed to automatic strangulation. Cost a lot of money to buy an automatic at the dealership, so you got to go with the manual strangulation. So when you look at, oh god, that was a bad joke. Sorry, if you're new, I make shitty jokes, so it's okay to say boo in the comments. Um, Now, this is the part where they talk about, yeah, Brian did use the cell phone and say text messages, almost like Chandler Halderson, just to make it sure that try to show the idea she wasn't dead yet. Um, uh, then Brian texted her mom, and this is interesting. I didn't know this till you read it. I read it. She referred to her grandfather by a name that she never used. So I think that's when people realized there was some. Her parents realized something was up. Um, Now, here's the part where we need to look at this. Paragraph number 18. It is. Saying it was 3 on the. Okay. Fuck. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. We're not going there. We're not going there, Charles. Charles, we're not going there. That is a good one, though. um, Number 18 is believed and therefore averred, and this is it's believed and therefore they are alleging it and claiming it, that on or about August 28th, Brian told his mom and dad that he murdered Gabby. And it's that same day they spoke with the attorney that they ended up hiring later, a couple days later, Steve Bertolino. The fact that you're sitting there right now and you get a call from well, actually, who can we use right now? You get a call from your best friend. Your best friend tells you, "Oh my God, I just killed my parents." Okay, so what? You do not have a duty to report that. You do not have a duty to report crimes in that situation. Now, there might be a job, let's say you're in a teaching position or a nursing position where you have mandatory reporting. Okay, but generally those focus around issues of like child abuse, domestic violence, yada yada yada. In this situation, though, there's no clear. Did you take a bite? Yes. Hey, I killed my wife. Like, well, did you eat her too, or did you just kill her? But no, if you were to call your parents and tell them, "Look, I just killed my girlfriend or boyfriend," or if you're non-binary, they self, I self, me self, we self, just killed they self, or however the fuck you would try to say that with your nonsense fake words. Um, that's great. What are they supposed to do about that? They're not supposed to. They have no obligation to run to the police. They're allowed to say, "Oh shit, somebody in our family committed a crime." What are they allowed to do? They're allowed to go talk to an attorney. So far, this is not a crime. Number one, it's not a crime. Number two, it's not a tort, meaning an action you can sue someone for. That is not tortious conduct. It's not infliction of emotional distress. It is not any other sort of tort claims, which are, like interfering with a business contract, battery, anything like that. So far, there's nothing wrong here. And then they talk about on the 30th, Brian sent a text message again to Gabby's mom. Doesn't mean anything. And then by September 1st, Brian returns home, driving the van. At no point did Gabby's parents and Brian's parents talk to each other. Okay, so what? What does that actually mean? What does that mean for a lawsuit? Who's liable at this point for anything? That's nonsense. On August, from August 27th till September 19th, when her remains were found, her parents were extremely distraught and were attempting to okay Gabby. Oh, whoa, it's so scary and so sad. You're supposed to have like big tear face right here. Maybe you throw in like the emotional damage guy. Yeah, sure. I bet they were absolutely fucking upset and devastated They probably knew their daughter was dead, and it was just a matter of time till she was found, and they were probably going to find her with the coyotes picking her body clean. But once again, so what? Hell, my family would absolutely get involved if I told them to kill someone. Sure, and they can do that if they want to. They can go run and scream to the police, but, you know, my brother calls me today and says, yeah, I killed somebody. I ain't saying shit to nobody. My best friend calls me saying I killed somebody. I ain't saying shit to nobody. I'm like, what can I do? What do you need from me? I'll do everything I can that does not get me in trouble. But it's a matter of corporate policy at Martin Co. Industries, or, you know, as I like to say, you know, where I live is the land of Martinistan. We don't like snitching in our society here. No, they're not. Well, I'll get to show what's the issue here. It was good till people act like they are better than you, and for me, one is not better. Okay, I'm not sure. You guys are talking. I'll let you go along with that. But, you know, Charles, we're getting to the good part. Yes, while Gabby Petito's family was suffering, the Laundrie family went on vacation to Fort DeSoto Park. Yeah, went and fired up the camper. So what? Once again, where is there any sort of tortious activity where you could sue somebody and they've committed a wrongful act towards the Petitos? They have no obligation to report. In an effort to avoid any contact with Gabby's family, they blocked her cell phone. They blocked her on Facebook. They shut her out. Once again, that's not a crime. Number two, in a civil context, what? Being a big dickhead is not a civil action. What have they done? Have they caused any intentional infliction of emotional distress? I mean, if that's the case, then 13-year-olds can sue the shit out of each other for being mean girls all the time. You know, cyberbullying, and like, let's be real. Then their argument is, well, because they knew all this and they used their lawyer and they made statements, knowing she was dead. Well, they're allowed to use an attorney and speak. They didn't say anything wrong. But once again, they have to prove that he told them that he knew he was dead, and because at this point there's still, once again, no civil action here. This is absolute horseshit. Then an attorney issued a letter to the Petitos hired an attorney who wrote a letter or issued a statement to the Laundries that said, we are writing this letter to ask you help her find her beautiful daughter. We understand you're going through a difficult time and your instinct to protect your son is strong. We ask you to put yourselves in our shoes. We haven't been able to eat or sleep because our lives are falling apart. And it's like, I think the Laundries are going to say, put yourself in our fucking shoes. Our lives are falling apart. Our son just told us he committed fucking murder. This is just, once again, this is ridiculous. As we believe you know where Brian left Gabby, we beg you to tell us as a parent, how could you let us go through this pain and not help us? Woo, woo, woo. Once again, not. This is just emotion. I'm not saying it wasn't real, but come on, guys, come on. Got to be adults here. How can you put Gabby's younger brothers and sisters through this? Woo, 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 woo. Also, if anybody here is watching this and knows Petitos, I don't really care. They can, eat a dick up till they hiccup. I don't feel bad for saying this and making fun of them. Really, I don't. So, how can you put us through this? Gabby lived with you for over a year. She was going to be your daughter-in-law. How can you keep her location hidden? If Brian told them he killed her and, I dumped her body in the woods, they don't fucking know. And that's assuming he even did. If you or your family have any decency left, please tell us where Gabby is located. Tell us if you're even looking in the right place. Okay. And then finishing it off with, all we want's Gabby to come home. Woo, 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 woo. Big tears, big mad, big sad. Despite the fact that Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt implored the Laundries to tell them if their daughter was alive and if she's not, where she was, they refused to respond. You're some fucking like you're people. You don't have the authority to compel it. They don't. Didn't have to talk to the police either. The police came and talked to him, and they didn't talk to him. That's how it fucking works in America. You don't have to cooperate. I mean, based upon this logic, like you go into like any sort of like gang shooting, like in the hood, ain't nobody talking to nobody, man. So are we gonna like? Is this mean you can go sue each other? You know, anytime something happens, or there's a domestic violence charge, and oh, what happened? Oh, she ran into the door. Are we gonna go down this road? No, that's stupid. It's nonsensical. Instructed all contacts were made through their attorney. Oh, that's so fucking outlandish. You would hire an attorney. Holy fuck! I mean, my God, who the fuck would do that? Oh wait, normal people would do that. If you're not a stupid idiot, that's what you do. This is restaurant-sized pot of weak sauce. Oh, this is like a fucking Kirkland size. It's like Costco size weak sauce. Like fucking oil tanker sized weak sauce. Like Exxon Valdez weak sauce. Maybe even like the Eagle Shale out in Texas. Like the Eagle Shale and the oil deposit sized weak sauce. Like 3 trillion barrels of weak sauce. They issued a no comment, and their attorney, he said no comment. Oh my God, I mean, fuck, I clutch my pearls any harder, I'm gonna break my neck. Just more big tears. Big mad, big sad. Ooh, woo, woo, woo. Once again, I mean, this is, you know, and I know the women are listening to this. This is just tampon, like, ringing. They're just ringing out their tampons right now. Like, I get it, but that's not a, ringing out your tampons on a piece of paper doesn't make it a complaint. Doesn't make it a valid case. They were desperately searching for their daughter, and they were making arrangements to let Brian leave the country. It doesn't sound like that was an issue, because if that was the case, I'm pretty sure the fucking government would have gone after him. They knew the laundries knew of the mental anguish and suffering, and they knew that they could alleviate, at least in part, some of it by disclosing what they knew, yet they refused to do so. They had no obligation or duty to do so. I mean, seriously, like I said, whatever the attorney wrote this, fuck, bro, come on, man. You know better. This is awful. I mean, you're an attorney. You're saying using an attorney is a bad thing. They distributed extreme and outrageous conduct, which constitutes behavior which goes beyond all possible bounds of decency and is regarded as shocking, atrocious, and utterly intolerable in a civilized community. No. If something like this happens in your family, shut the fuck up and get an attorney. That's what you do in a civilized society. That's what you do, and the laundries did the right thing. Shut the fuck up. I mean, I'll do it like, I guess I'm not allowed to do this because it's cultural appropriation, but shut the fuck up. As the direct and proximate result of the willfulness and maliciousness, they've suffered mental anguish, inconvenience, loss of capacity for enjoyment of life, experienced in the past and be experienced in the future. Yeah, it's because they didn't help you. It's not the fact your daughter got strangled and dumped in the fucking woods and picked clean by the buzzards. That's not what has ruined your life. It's the fact nobody helped. I mean, how would you differentiate that here? I don't. I think that's a very problematic direct and proximate result. Are you sure it's that? Or are you sure it's the murder of your daughter that is making you all sorts of discombobulated? But hey, so this is just a complaint. The laundries have the opportunity to respond. Patrick Riley, Esquire, bro, oof, and yeah, come on, man, it's fucking weak sauce on a burrito, man. So yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit. But my feelings. Oh wow. Okay, sorry. Apparently you guys really like the woo 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 thing. I'm sorry. I gotta read back up on this. Okay, Roxy, have a nice night. I need you to help me finish eating all of this. Ah! Yeah. Mom, Dad, I need you to finish this. Can you eat her spleen for me? I got no more room. Look, I ate her appendix, but I just can't finish the gallbladder. It's just too much. Don't tell me they didn't talk about Gabby on that vacation. I'm sure they did, but so what? The idea, this concept that you have to help. It's called misprison of felony. That's something we used to have like way back in the 1800s. We don't do that anymore in America. You don't have an obligation to report crime, generally speaking, as an average citizen. Um, I can't believe an attorney dress up. I can, and I can speak for attorneys because I are one. We are a bunch of scum sucking motherfuckers at times. So, I mean, would I do this? No, this doesn't pass the smell test, but I mean, we're called ambulance chasers for a reason, artist. I mean that's how we roll. We've earned our reputation. We've earned every bit of it. Um, my people, my community. Yeah, the members of the bar in the past have definitely made sure that happened, and this guy's helping keep perpetuate that stereotype alive. So, I mean, I guess he did something good. So condescending. I'm an attorney. That's what I do. Um, I agree with all that, but that didn't their filing state that the Laundries tried to help their son leave the country? Um, yeah, there's the allegations, but I mean, if they were really trying to aid and embed somebody like that, what point did they do anything illegal? I mean, if he's a person of interest, but he's not a suspect, I mean, once again, you have to prove all of these things. How do they know that? Maybe they got access to some FBI notes. Maybe they're just going off hunches or what people close to the family have told them. Like I said, we don't know because we're not in the discovery phase yet. And I don't think this will get to the discovery phase. This should be summarily dismissed, get to summary judgment. They're stating a claim upon which relief cannot be granted. And that is, it's failure to state a claim upon which relief cannot be granted. Very common, happens all the time. I hate being an adult. Yeah, so do I. Cases a lot of feelings hurt, but what laws were, like I said, you know, having soggy underwear is not a crime, and you can't sue somebody because they gave you soggy underwear. Um, they let their daughter go live in a van with Brian and drive around the country. Well, yeah, but I mean, how many people let their children go? It wasn't like Gabby was like 12. It's just, hey, your daughter found a guy and they did their thing. Shouldn't they sue the police instead? Like they let Brian escape and kill himself? The police have no duty. They have no duty to protect you. So, like if a stalker was trying to kill you and hurt you, or even killed you, the police aren't liable for that. Their job is to protect society as a whole. And the fact you can't really sue them for failing to investigate properly. Because how do you know what they're going to find? What could they find? You'd actually have to prove that's not an action either, Sue. So does not matter. This is a restaurant-sized pot of weak sauce. She was a YouTuber. Yes, they let her. Rule 1, don't tell the cops. Rule 2, get a lawyer. Yes. Shut the fuck up and get a lawyer. Sutine, woo, woo, woo. I knew you would say be quiet and get a lawyer. They were both adults. They still let her go. Critter, I mean, is it gross? My comment. Okay, what? He admitted to doing it. That doesn't change anything. Well, who says he admitted to doing it? They're alleging it, but do they have proof that he admitted to it? Even if he admitted to doing it, let's say he 100% said like, "Hey mom, hey dad," they're sitting around having barbecue. He's like, "Hey mom, hey dad, look, I did kill her, but look, I promise you're not eating her right now. I actually went to the store and I went to Publix and got ribs. These aren't Gabby, but I really did kill her." Okay, so what do? Are they under obligations to do anything at that point? No. So what will happen next to determine if it should go to trial? Well, the Laundries have the ability to respond, and they will. They'll file a answer, and that answer will probably be we deny all the allegations and we request a motion for summary judgment at this point. And there'll be a hearing where you get to argue about whether or not summary judgment is proper, and then the judge will make a decision. Plus, their activities have not shown support of 32. Yeah, they have to be, and even then, the way it works for the most part, I don't know Florida's rules, for example, but the way you get through summary judgment in Ohio and a couple other places, you just have to show that if you believe all of the allegations to be true, is there an actionable claim? So they don't have to prove their case automatically 100% right now. They just have to lay out a bunch of it that they believe they could get to. And yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. It sucks. The guy who killed their daughter's dead and they're going after whoever they can. And yeah, sorrow can make people upset. Charles, yes, but my feelings. Yep. There'll be a hearing. It'll be summarily dismissed. It should. I don't think it'll get any farther than that. Can it still be dismissed? Well, yeah, it can get dismissed after that hearing if the judge hears from both sides. The Petitos could dismiss it themselves and say, look, you know what, oops. They could see maybe the world laughing at them, and maybe it's this fat guy with gray hair in Ohio who's an attorney tells them that they're all, football bat wrong and, hockey cleat wrong. Yeah, they might say, oh, wow, that guy really, we learned, we're just big mad, big sad. They could dismiss it on their own, but I doubt it. They're going to make the court do that. Yeah, Amulet changes. Hi, Tasha. Someone agreed to help you. Son, when I agreed to help your girlfriend, this is not what I had in mind. Fuck. What are you doing, step bro? Why are you slathering him up with A1? If my son told me he killed someone, I would turn him in, and, you have every right to do that. If my brother came to me and said he killed somebody, I don't think I would. If my dad came to me and said he killed my mom, that would be hard. Or if my mom came and told me she killed my dad, that would be really hard to do. I don't know if I would. But, what I will tell people is I may have made all those jokes, but I will say this, Critter. Those aren't easy decisions to make in reality. And, when it really comes down to it, I don't fault people for making the decisions they make. Now, I may laugh at it from the 10,000-foot view, like the, what the fuck are those names of those guys on the Muppets? Who sit up in the booth and go like, ho, 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 ho. Yeah, I will, but in reality, you do what you gotta do. So, nothing wrong with that. We're not eating her. Do you think they know everything? Do you think we will know everything in Brian's journal? Don't know. Don't know at all. People should have been waiting with nooses. I bet she would taste like peaches and cream. Oh. Ugh. Ugh. Oh. If they withdrew their claim, could they file another one? Sure, they could, generally speaking, you can dismiss and refile, but you'd have to, I mean, if they refiled it and it was still just this, then yeah, they'd still lose and that'd be it for them. So, I mean, so if you're arguing, can they find more information? Sure. But generally speaking, when it comes to like wrongful death and most tort actions, you usually have at least a year or some amount of time, statute of limitations wise. There's nothing wrong with doing some digging now and getting that information. Like I said, maybe they have it. They know things that we don't. You don't have to lay out your cards out on the table right now when you file a complaint. You don't have to lay out all the exhibits and lay out all your proof. I hope the Petitos retain this guy on a contingency basis. Oh yeah, this is probably definitely a contingency case. This guy's looking to score some cash. I'd probably try to convince someone to turn themselves in. And like I said, Charles, that is something you have the right to do. And I wouldn't, in reality and a true sense of it, I wouldn't fault you for wanting to do that. We all have to make our, when it's one thing to joke about and we can laugh about it, but when it like really, when shit really happens, how we act, and that's, you know, it's how life goes. To be fair, the laundry seem like assholes, so I don't mind. Hey, you could be an ass. Being an asshole is not a crime in the state of Florida. I mean, if it was, Jesus Christ, that state would be bad for business in Florida. Um, I still want to know how the law enforcement mistook Brian's mom for him in the car that day. Critter, cops are people. You know, people working their jobs make mistakes. You go to Burger King and the guy may put pickles on your burger and you ask for no pickles. Sometimes the cops misread the door serving a search warrant. You know, the cops are just like everybody else when they fuck up, except usually life is on the line or serious crimes are at stake. So, I mean, you know, oopsie poopsie, I guess. You know, or, you know, the cops sometimes, like, you know, they shoot Vicky Weaver in the face. Oops. Um, so yeah, wow, I guess, Gabby, that turned into a kind of a firestorm there of comments and actions from me. I hope nobody clips all this shit. Um, don't mess with my Whopper. Yeah, God, I hope people don't. I'm glad I'm not to the point where people clip me on things because that would. Now looking back in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done all that, but oh well. Um, Laundry's house is surrounded by cops and media. Yeah. So we're gonna move on now. Um, I know some of you guys are new. If you go back, I talked about, I did a video a couple weeks ago about, you know, how does it count committing a war crime? Because of the war, you know, okay, look, I understand Russia's been in war with Ukraine since 2014, but I mean the newest round of intense fighting, which has been pretty insane. Um, you know, there have been allegations the rules of war have been broken on both sides. Um, make sure the pizza box is held waist high. Yeah, yeah. Hello, I gotta deliver your large sausage pizza. Uh, I'm sure that's how it went, Kickster. Um, I've seen that documentary as well. I learned how to deliver pizzas that way too when I was in college. Um, oh, you guys can't pay for it. Well, you're gonna have to do something. Um, but yeah. Anyway, going back to it, I want to show you guys this because you know, there people are volunteering for the fighting in Ukraine. If you know anybody doing that, I would just seriously tell you, stop them at all cost. Uh, you're this isn't like going on a Taliban safari or going to fight for the Kurds against Al Qaeda, where it's your biggest threat is some dude in a Toyota Tacoma with a machine gun on the back. Like you're fighting an actual army that can drop artillery, airstrikes. A group of these foreign fighters were preparing to get ready to leave a training facility, and they got hit with a fucking cruise missile, and like 30 or 40 of them got wiped out. Um, it's the real deal there. And there's also allegations for like this guy who's going to tell you how bad it is. And I wanted to show this because I think it's something I wanted to cover it, but I think it's interesting what he tells us happens. Where is this guy's thing at? I clicked on it. It ain't like Call of Duty. Well, especially this time. It's not like Call of Duty, definitely. Yeah, here we go. So I want you guys to listen to it, and I'm going to pause it after it gets going for a while, but just listen to it, and then we'll talk about the part where it's probably a war crime. And what they did was bad. No sound? Fuck. Alright, hold on, guys, hold on. Alright. Damn it. hold on. I guess I'll try to do it on Twitter. All right, all right, all right. Okay, so all right. Damn it. Back. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna have to figure something out then. Um. Anyway. Yeah. Watching. You can watch Ukraine on fire. Basically, he said they're getting to the point where they're being told they're going to Kiev to fight, and they're given like 10 rounds of ammunition and being loaded on the trucks. That sounds like a suicide run. So a bunch of them decided to say fuck this, and they quit. And they quit, and they tried to show up at the Polish border to get back out. Yeah, you've seen, so you've seen this. So they were told though they got word had gotten to them that if they show up at the border in their military gear, Ukrainians will arrest them, take their passports, cut them in half, and send them back to the fight. So these guys had the brilliant idea of, well, they ran into some humanitarian NGO workers. And they said, hey, can we ditch all our stuff and can we borrow your guys' humanitarian vest, which have the Red Cross on them? Now keep in mind, they have signed up to fight in the army. They are still technically in the army as combatants, and they're running around wearing shit with the Red Cross on it. Yeah, so I think we talked about this, but you're not allowed to do that. That is actually against the laws of war. It's against international law. It's called purify. You are not allowed to use protected symbols to conduct yourself. So, for example, if you had a bunch of troops in the middle of a battle and you wanted to sneak them from one side of town to another, you can't put them in an ambulance because you expect the other side not to shoot at the ambulance. For the same reason why you can't launch attacks out of hospitals. Yeah. So you can see where this is going. More importantly, thank God this guy is smart enough not to mention which humanitarian groups were doing this, because now if you're a humanitarian group and you are letting active combatants who are active soldiers in the military who have signed contracts run around wearing your stuff, let's say, for example, it's the International Committee of the Red Cross doing this. The International Committee of the Red Cross is no longer a neutral party. And the Russians and the Ukrainians could say, you are now an active combatant. You are now fair game. If we see something with the Red Cross on it, we know you let bad guys run around in those. We can shoot those up. So, I'm sure the big brains on Reddit who went there to the fight thought this would be a great way to get some upvotes. Committing war crimes and then also possibly getting humanitarian workers killed. I'm sure that wasn't their plan, but that's what this can lead to. I know that really, compared to what we were talking about Gabby Petito, I know that was kind of like you guys don't really give a shit, but I just thought it was an interesting thing to talk about. um, Talking about eating Gabby and the word fuck and now back it up. Where the hell is my mind supposed to go? Yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe I should have left Gabby for the end. I feel like I kind of broke your guys' brains now. You guys are all stuck on talking about eating Gabby in different ways. Some of them may be pornographic. um, so the other one, and this is one that I got actually from Critter. She sent it my way, and I thought it'd be interesting to look at. Is this? I haven't looked at it yet because I wanted to kind of react to it myself, kind of freshly. Is this issue with this attorney in Kentucky? I gotta find it first. So what are we seeing here? War is a new fashion trend. It's current. It is current and interesting, but it can't always be fun and games. I know, but I really feel like I broke you guys, and everybody's focused on this eating Gabby. Lamau, you're the man. Don't go that far, please. Hiya, porcupine applesauce. Yeah, hi porcupine applesauce. Where's the new fashion trend? Yeah, Yeah, got to get those updates on Reddit, man. But yeah, so if you end up going to a war zone to fight, don't run around wearing Red Cross stuff if you're actually not in the Red Cross. You'll get a lot of people hurt. Yeah, I mean, that's what you have to think about, because also think about this. If you catch those guys masquerading like that, you could probably consider them spies. They're fighting in wrong uniforms. They're being, you could probably consider them spies and just execute them. Now, I mean, they're dealing with the Russians, and the Russians have no problem leveling city blocks and doing all kinds of other shit, so they'll probably get killed anyway. But I'm saying, could a normal Western military run into those guys and treat them the same way? Yes, I think so, and they'd be within their rights. Now, would a Western military do that? Probably not. They would capture them and send them to a black site and waterboard the shit out of them or something instead. So, I gotta get right in focus. How many years have you been telling yourself that? Oof. Be nice, everybody. I know you guys are joking. Oliver Media, they're talking about war crimes too. Yeah, well, both sides are kind of pushing the limits on that. Yeah, it's the other thing too. If you're going to commit crimes, don't put them on Snapchat. Also, don't talk about committing war crimes on Snapchat. Now, could this guy get in trouble for that? I don't think anybody's ever going to come after him. The International Criminal Court's not going to come after him, but that's not, that's not a good way to do it. William Eineman, hey, thanks for coming by, stopping by. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe if you like it. Same thing with you, Porcupine. I wonder if the Russians still send the family spies a bill for the bullets. I thought the Chinese did that, but I think the Russians did that like back during the time of the Cheka, like Felix Dzerzhinsky, like the early 20s and stuff like that. I don't think they did that up through, maybe even through Stalin, but I don't think that was common after that. Yeah, William, I appreciate your comments. Yeah, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. So, wanted to get to this one about the attorney. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know anything about it, and hopefully now we all actually can listen to it, unlike that last one. Share. Okay, so let's see what this is about. Sound is going to be up, guys, so make sure you might have to mute your sound a little bit.
I don't want to ask this question, man. Are you impaired today on something? Are you under the influence of narcotics here today?
No, I'm not.
You oftentimes hear judges ask that question, but it's usually to a criminal defendant in a courtroom.
What was the other issue?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
On March 9th, with Judge Samuel Spalding presiding, court was set to begin in Greene County. But before the jury was brought into the circuit courtroom, Judge Spalding asked the attorney for the defendant, Bethany Stanziano, a question.
Stanzi, I don't want to ask this question, man. Are you impaired today on something? Are you under the influence of narcotics here today?
No, I'm not, Your Honor.
The proceedings continued and a jury was brought into the courtroom. However, minutes later, when asked by a judge, Stanziano said she was not ready to proceed. After the judge asked why, this exchange occurred.
I'm trying to think. Yes, probably just a couple brief statements, but probably need to get on the record.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to do this.
The judge and attorneys then left the jury, continuing discussions on another floor.
Okay, we're on the record, back on the record.
The attention turned away from the case to the state of Stanziano.
I can't focus because the pain in my feet and the right leg from the knee down It's excruciating.
She maintained that she was not under the influence, but was on medications due to neurological issues. However, the judge said that her medical documents submitted before trial did not support the state of pain that she claimed. In a court order, Judge Spalding cited Stanziano's speech, demeanor, and appearance for asking for a drug test, which she eventually refused.
And you've assured me that you are clean and that these drug screens would be negative. Therefore, there should not be an issue with you taking it. And if you're not, ma'am, I'm going to have to take action here.
Your Honor, I would like to speak with my attorney.
Okay, she's remanded into custody.
1 minute later, sheriff's deputies pushed her wheelchair out of the courtroom. She was taken to the Taylor County Detention Center. 2 days later, on Friday, March 11th, the judge wrote a new order stating that he had been advised that Stanziano would comply with the drug screen order, and if she submitted a hair and urine sample for testing, she would immediately be released from jail. Officials at the detention center confirmed that Stanziano was, in fact, released that same day. In Greene County, Conroy Deluche, LEX 18 News.
Well, I noticed that she was in a wheelchair. She must have been pretty banged up. Yeah. No, you're not. I'm not. I'm just shit-faced right now. Hold on here. I was over a Good Logic stream. Oh, he's done now? I mean, doesn't he start at like 10 o'clock? Joe usually starts at like 10 o'clock. He's drunk and really drunk and saw you were live. Coherent speech again. Well, hey, in honor of our girl getting messed up, thought I'd get started for her. Still St. Patrick's Day, by the way. Yeah, she was an attorney. Yeah, does she sound messed up? Maybe. I mean, remember, also being in pain like that can fuck with you too. And you know, depending on what type of pain she has, looks like she's in a wheelchair to start with. So I don't know. Yeah, I have a feeling though she's probably gonna get referred to the bar for substance abuse issues because she seemed a little strung out right there, and she has a lot of issues. Yeah, she does. Yeah, Gixer, she was an attorney, and I will say there is an attorney or two in my time that I've met who, every time I see her, I'm like, I'm pretty sure she's been high. And I'm not the only attorney who thought that, and I learned that from the other attorneys I was working with in this particular town. So, yeah, substance abuse is, no. I would not, Critter, take prescription painkillers and argue a case. Back in May of last year, I was at my office and it was raining and I slipped on the stairs going out the back of my office and I fell and I tore my patella tendon. Now, yes, I understand. Yes, it's hilarious. An attorney, slips and falls at his office. But yes, I tore my patellar tendon. And if you're wondering what the hell a patellar tendon it is, I will show you. As you can see, the patellar tendon is right there. It's right there. I tore that fucker about right there. Absolutely hurt. Some of the oh my god. Yeah, sure, Nick, that'd be great. Yeah, hold on. Hey, I just put hey Nick, I just put my email address in the description. That way you can send me a link or something at that point. But no, Critter, I tore my patellar tendon. I had to get surgery, and I was on painkillers for that afterwards. And even when I wasn't, it hurt a lot trying to walk around. I was an immobilizer. No, you shouldn't be. If you're not clear-headed, you shouldn't be doing it. Now, let's say you're on like antidepressants, you're on Zoloft or something like that. Yeah, I could see you if you've been on it and you've been stabilized, you're good to go. Antidepressants, any sort of other drugs, you're probably fine. But like if you're taking anything that you wouldn't drive a car and get a DUI on, you shouldn't be handling cases. That's irresponsible as fuck. You have that duty to your client, and you wouldn't want your doctor being doped up. You wouldn't want that from anybody. So you've got to be on top of your shit. And if the pain's too much, you can't focus. Like I had a trial set and I could barely fucking walk. I could walk around my house and that's about it. I had to get everything continued. I was out of action for like 5 weeks. Thankfully, still last year we were doing everything on video, so I didn't get too far behind. But any real hearing where I had to do some actual brain power work wasn't happening. So yeah, you just have to be careful with that stuff. You can't. Is it considered frivolous? Catherine, I'm not sure what you mean. If you want to bring it or clarify that a little bit, but yeah, would that be ineffective assistance of counsel? You might have an argument there if it's clear she's doped up, and even if she's doped up, she's got all these problems going on. Sure, but still might not be enough. Appeals courts like to leave things alone. They will try to distinguish. They will try to call stuff harmless error and say it was going to happen anyway. Much like insurance companies are in the business of not paying out on claims, because that's how they make money, appeals courts are in the business of not overturning cases if they can avoid it. Well, the ADA does allow for accommodations, Charles. You're 100% correct. But you can't, there are, but remember, there's the ADA, but there's also the Sixth Amendment to the Constitution. You have the right to, in the rules of professional conduct, that you have the right to competent counsel. So, yeah, the ADA doesn't allow you to do your job if you're a sloppy mess. But if I can't think straight because I'm in a lot of pain and it's difficult, and I can't sit down for more than 10 minutes at a time, and I have to stand up, sit down because my leg feels like it's full of pins and needles, that's not an ADA issue. The ADA says, can you do the job with your disability or your medical issue? If you can't and you're a sloppy mess, you don't get she's not going to be able to wrap herself up in the ADA. I mean, we're pretty creative as attorneys. I think that if that existed, we would have used that out a long time ago. Can you call it sick being a lawyer? Yeah. I mean, I've tested positive for COVID before. I mean, you can't go to court if you've been exposed. The rules are the same for you. Now, there are times where if you know that's happened and it's a day or two out and you're an attorney, unlike most clients where you call the morning up saying, oh, I got COVID, maybe. I'll call in advance and I've said, look, Judge, this is an issue. I was potentially exposed. Can we move this to a video hearing? Or can we push this out a day or two just to make sure I clear the test window? That's usually not a problem nowadays. Even before, yeah, attorneys wake up sick the morning of trial, like puking your guts out. When I was a brand new attorney, I was really sick one morning, and I still went into court. This is back in 2014, so it wasn't COVID. But I ended up tossing my cookies in the jury room, in their bathroom. And in between hearings, because I had a bunch of hearings that day, and the judge just ran a criminal docket, case after case after case, and I threw up like in between my cases, and the bailiff came in and found me. She's like, just go home. You don't have to be here. And I thought you had to. But no, you can call off sick, but you better not be getting sick a lot, because that can be reputation forming, and that can be a problem to the point where, like, oh, I'm sick. And you might get a call from the court saying, well, go see a doctor and come in with a fucking note or you're going to have problems. Yeah, in the COVID era, it's been, as long as you say stuff's going on, they're generally pretty clear about it. Nick's 100% right. You just, if it happens all the time, yeah, can't have it happen all the time. As soon as she gave urine and hair sample, the judge let her out immediately. Yeah, and I'm betting she's going to test hot for a bunch of different things. puke on the judge, you'll get out. Yes. Your Honor, may I approach? Bleh, all over. Yes, that's one way to prove you're really sick. I don't know if you'd really want to do it that way. Although it's okay, they're wearing their robe, so they can take off their robe later. Yeah, well, Gixer, I've had that happen before too. I've had a client, it's one you kind of get away with it like once. Oh, he's sick or something happened. If you don't have a history of like failing to appear and you don't have a record with that judge, you might get away with it. But after the second time, I had a guy where he kept on getting sick, and the judge said, "Well, that's okay. We have nursing staff and a doctor that come through the jail routinely to check on everybody. We'll take care of them." I said, "Thank you, Judge. I will relay that to my client." And guess what? Guess who showed the fuck up to court? My guy. So, yeah, that's not the first time I've heard that before. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So William, sorry I missed this earlier. Would that be grounds if you found out later? Well, if it came out later, like way after your appeal's done and whatnot, you might have grounds for a new trial. But once you're past your appeal, trying to get a verdict overturned in a case, a new trial, after an appeal's happened, after the conviction, after the sentencing, way down the road, that's even harder. It can. It would just have to depend on the severity of it. And once again, you'd have to show that prejudice and show what happened. Like I said before with the whole, I mentioned earlier today, ineffective assistance. You can fall asleep on your client, and that's not necessarily ineffective assistance. Remember, you have to show, had this person not been doped up, had they not been a juice head or a lush during trial, there's a good chance I would have had a different outcome. So you still have to prove what that outcome would have been and how they could have changed that. If you were still screwed, kind of like my trial earlier this week, I could have probably slept through it, and I don't think it would have changed much at the end of the day. Now, like I said earlier, I went there and fought tooth and nail, but I wasn't surprised with the verdict. I kind of expected it. So if there's a mistake or there's an error, it didn't change anything. It's kind of like if the ref fucks up a false start call in football, but you're down by 50 points with 2 minutes to go. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, did the ref mess up? Sure, but you're not going to make up 50 points in 2 minutes. Yeah, but hey, Shannon, but that should tell you something. Attorneys know you work with an attorney. You have to ask to speak to your lawyer. That's not a bad idea. If you think you're gonna like, uh-oh, I'm being held in contempt, and he's probably gonna jail me. It probably didn't help. She was probably intoxicated and panicking at that point. But yeah, I've been in court before with the attorney. Yes, not with that attitude. But no, I've seen attorneys before where the judge says, I'm thinking about finding you in contempt. We might have show cause, and the attorney says, I'd like to have counsel present. It helps that you're not defending your own ass. It does help having somebody there who's looking out for you, who's disinterested. It's no different for me than it would be for any of you out there. Yeah, that happens all the time. For example, like Sidney Powell and some of the attorneys involved with the Kraken stuff post-election, even Mark Elias, who's the supposed like pipe hitter for the Democrats, he had some sanction issues pop up. You get an attorney for that. If you're an attorney and you're facing bar discipline, there are attorneys who specialize in ethics issues and bar discipline defense. You don't go at it alone. You bring in some help. Yeah. All right, Nick. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. I'll have to get in touch with you. Have a good one. But yeah, lawyers having lawyers is not uncommon. She probably just ate some bad unbreaded shrimp. So yeah, it's just interesting how that stuff goes. So yeah, guys, that's kind of everything. And wow, I usually try to do this to like a hour and a half, and here we are. It's an hour and a half. Did I cover everything on the list? Yeah, that shoved in some other stuff as well. But yeah, I mean, do you guys have any other cases or things you're thinking about, you're wondering about, we can look at real quick? I mean, we do have some time, and it is only 11 o'clock, so, and I have an open, well, I have a partially open schedule tomorrow, so I don't have to be up at the crack of dawn. So yeah, they love to drink. Yeah, well, I like to drink too, so nothing wrong with that. But yeah, guys, anything else? Now's the time. Don't be afraid. I do appreciate you guys ask a lot of good questions. So, enjoy talking about it and explaining shit. So yeah, well, Gixer, I would say you can actually, if you want to look into it, you can Google like a legal ethicist, who they're attorneys who specialize in legal ethics, where I would go to them with an issue. Usually it's kind of like a civil related issue. Is this a conflict of interest? Can I do this? Can I do that? You lay it out for that attorney, and they do an ethics research, and they research the rules of professional conduct. They're well versed in it, and they come up with a opinion you can use, and you can sometimes rely on it and say, if you get in trouble later on down the road or there's an issue, you can say, look, I even consulted with an attorney who specializes in the rules of ethics. Here's what they told me, and here's what I relied upon. So there's all kinds of attorneys who specialize in attorney work. What is the best lawyer and movie-wise? It My Cousin Vinny? Because it's actually pretty good. It's pretty damn good how it works out. And it's also, why did Marissa Tomei deserve the Oscar that year? Because she did. She did a good job. It wasn't a mistake. I don't believe that conspiracy that they messed up and Jack Palance screwed that up and they just went with it. Did I pass the bar on the first time? Yes. Thank God I passed it the first time. I can't imagine having to take a second swing at that thing. That was rough. First time was rough. I didn't want to do that again. So, yeah, I definitely made sure I did. Got it done. Good night, Shannon. Tomorrow, we'll be back on with Billy Ray and see what happens with his case. See if his pipe-hitting friend, Jimmy Martin, no relation, keeps talking about how they murder people. Do I think about the, Oh, Kickster, I don't think anybody, you don't have to apologize for anybody. I think we're having a fun time here. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Charles. I appreciate it. So, Critter, you're asking, how's that done with the ethical things? You get it written. Oh, no, you always get that in writing. You get a written ethical opinion on what based upon the facts presented, here's what they think lays out, and here's what the recommended actions are. Just like if it's insurance, it's always written out. So yeah, you always get those in writing. If you have somebody saying, I think you're actually doing something okay. William, what are the potential ramifications for the Crumley parent case in Michigan? The precedent could be dangerous going forward. Oh, yes, it could. I don't think anybody here is getting offended. I think we all we've been here long enough, we understand how we are with things, and it's also the internet. I mean, I think I tried to make that clear, guys. It's the internet. Don't take shit too seriously. You save that for, I don't know, save that for an email list or Facebook. But yeah, do I think it'll have ramifications? If they get convicted, yes. I don't think they should be convicted. I'm going to do a video on that one because it's not like mom said like, oh, here you go, sweetheart. Here's a couple extra magazines. And remember, 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. And remember, when in doubt, use the anchor shot. They didn't do anything. They didn't commit anything. When you listen to the preliminary hearing, what do you find out? They didn't pay attention to their kid. And at the worst, how many parents in this country do that? How many parents in Oakland County, Michigan? Oh, my kid's weird. I bet if you asked my mom and dad, back when I was 16 and 17. Hey, do you think Sean's weird? I bet my dad would not hesitate to say, yeah, he's a fucking weirdo. They'd still love me. And, they were a little more attentive than Ethan's parents, but, kids are fucking weird at that age. So, yeah, I access to firearms, and I didn't go play duck hunt in the school either. Parallax, exactly. Yeah, they didn't tell him to go shoot up the school. They didn't give him access or tips or anything. It's not. I get they want to be upset, but being a shitty parent is not a crime. And if they're being a shitty parent, then think about the real shitty parents out there. I think this also brings up a big issue because Oakland County is on the edge of Detroit and all the violence and mayhem that happens in Detroit. Does this mean they're going to go after gang shootings where family members know about it? And, based on my experience, I will tell you, yeah, there's a lot of times that, families and people around people involved in gang shootings, you're going to see, moms and grandmas and family members going to jail for knowing about the shootings and not stopping them. Is that really the road you want to go down? Because that's where that really will lead. Yeah, it might get some lily white kids in the suburbs every once in a while, but you're going to have to go after people in underprivileged and underserved communities. And like I mentioned before, and I bring this up every once in a while, does this serve the interest of justice? Does this help us as a society? Should we prosecute under this theory? The answer is no. This doesn't help serve justice. It doesn't do anything that you want. Yeah, it might make people who are big mad, big sad, ooh, woo, woo, our kids are dead. Great. That might give you some semblance of being okay, but what the fuck does that get us? That's not where we should be taking the law. So yeah, that was a little preachy there. Yeah, well, that's the other thing too. She immediately turned around and charged her. Yeah, and I think that prosecutor, I think she probably has her eye on becoming the attorney general, maybe governor, who knows. But yeah, it reeks of political. It's a political prosecution. Oh, you didn't get notified, Cats? I'm sorry. Sorry to hear, but glad you're here now. Oh, I agree the school administrators should be charged too. Especially the fact they had this kid who they thought was an absolute danger. Why didn't they bring over the school resource officer? Why didn't they say, hey, Ethan, we're going to search your backpack because when you're in school, you don't have a Fourth Amendment right like you do walking down the street. They could have searched his shit and said, oh, wow, we found a gun. But instead, they just let him sit there and walk around. I think that shows they weren't really that scared, or if they were, they're just incompetent. Well, that's the thing. People, William, as far as people who speak out against decarceration, the decarceral state, but that's kind of at the end of the day, we're all hypocrites at some point, or we're all conflicted. Yeah, they want to decrease what they view are unfairly people being prosecuted in underserved communities, minority communities, low-income people being prosecuted for crimes, but they don't mind going after other people a certain way because they view that should be, those are the real crimes for them. Being against the amount of people going to prison doesn't mean you don't want people to go to prison, period. But I do think you have to define that a little better. But yeah, we're all people of conflicting issues at some point or another. Yeah, everybody wants a clean and easy fix. Yeah, this sounds good. It makes people nod their head and they seem to like it. But what's that lead to us 5 years down the road? 6 months down the road, what's that going to lead us to? Yeah, very much like Dr. Malcolm says, we're fucking around and we didn't even bother to think, should we do this? We're so worried about what we could do, we didn't think about what we should do. Oh, you're in Oakland County? Yes, they should have searched. And I hate the way school shootings are approached. The parents are to blame, or the gun is... Well, I think there's sometimes where it is. I think like with Columbine, there was an issue. I think one of the parents knew like some shit was going on in the basement and kind of conveniently blocked it Um, the parents were called in school and wouldn't take them home. Yeah, and that's fine. You know, hey, that's fine. I mean, that happens all the time. No, you're the school, you handle it. You're the professionals. Either way, that's still not a crime. We're not taking our kid home. You handle it. Well, the school didn't do anything, so. But the mental health of the shooter is the last thing brought up. Yeah, well, nobody likes to talk about all the SSRIs that most of these guys are on at some point or another when they decide to air condition up a building. Yeah, we don't like to talk about that. You know, I know the gun company only gets sued. Why not Pfizer or Merck? Yeah, it is late. So, yeah, Porcupine, thanks for stopping by. He told them about seeing things. Yeah, they should have got him help, Critter, and I don't disagree. But they're, you know, I mean, once again, they may have been neglectful as parents, but was it criminal neglect? No. You know, could Children's Services have probably gotten involved? Maybe. But did they do anything that rose to the level of a crime? And do you think putting them in prison is the proper way to handle this? That's the big question. That's the starting point. Is this a crime? And if so, what are you willing to do to punish people? How far are you willing to go with that? And then we go from there. And yes, do I think that it would have been better if they took care of their kid and gave a shit? Yeah. If it was my mom and dad involved, yeah, they probably would have got him all sorted out. But, you know, we all don't have the best parents. Oh, Northwest Oakland County. Okay. Oh wow, you're way you're up by like Pontiac. Well, what was that? 40 miles from Detroit. That's like Sterling Heights area, isn't it? I'm not pulling up a map right now, but that's probably up your way, isn't it? Uh Artist. But yeah, that's well, I mean, they could say, yeah, he's just being weird, too. I mean, they're not mental health professionals. I would argue in their defense again, because once again, I'm a defense attorney. They don't know. Once again, should they have done something? Yes. Would we like them to do something? Sure. Are you willing to put them in jail for 30 years over this? I mean, that's where this ends. You've got to come to the conclusion you want to put them in prison forever. And I don't want to go down that road. That's not a road I want to go to. So, like I said, that's just a road you have to go to, and I don't want to go there. Summer. Hold on, wait. Hey, guess what I have missed on poor Summer Wells? Oh, that's sad. She's she's missing. I hope they find her. I mean, probably not gonna happen well, but yeah. Well, I guess I'd say hopefully her family gets some closure. You know, she's probably not alive, but I hope they find her at some point. If she is, I hope she is alive though, and I hope they do find her, but odds are probably not. Yeah, I know. She's missing 8 months, and it probably is what it is, Critter, but nothing wrong with hoping for the best. You have my deepest respect. I appreciate that, but I'm not. I am not Atticus Finch. Don't put me in the same ranks as that or like Johnny Cochran or somebody. I'm just some dude in Ohio. I appreciate it though. Yeah, and Parallax, you're right. It's making people responsible for the actions of someone else. You got to draw that line. So, well, guys, it's been an hour and 45 minutes. The time flew by fast. I think I'm going to wrap it up. If you don't mind. Well, actually, I'll rephrase. I don't care if you don't mind. I'm going to hang it up. So, John Ramsey? Are you fucking serious? He's gonna be there? Okay. Well. That'll be interesting. I have my own theories about what happened to Jean Benet. Trial starts tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern time. Yeah, Kat, so you're talking about John Ramsey. I have my own theories. I still think your brother did it, and they covered it up. So yeah, it'll start 10:30 tomorrow. I believe that's when they're gonna start. I'll get it all fired up for you guys. I'll be in and out. I'll be here a lot more, but I still gotta do some errands and stuff tomorrow. So yeah, I will be around, and I'll see you guys then. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, me too. Like I said, I think that's the common. I don't know how many people believe it, but yeah. Yeah, I don't think he did it or his wife did it. The brother did it, and they covered it up. So, I will see you guys.